Every company wants to earn money. But it's the leaders who actually focus on this process, the same one that CVS used to help eliminate tobacco, are the ones who have a head start. Want to know the secret? It actually starts with simple and profound thoughts. Daniel Goleman did seminal research along with cognitive behavioral studies that demonstrate that when you focus on a behavioral change, the change only happens 10 to 30% of the time. Now, if you're a baseball player, that's pretty good batting average. But in business, not good enough. Instead, we need to focus on the precursor to the behaviors. Those are the thoughts and feelings that lead to the behaviors. And when we focus on these, we can increase the rate of change to 60 to 80%. Now, that's a home run in terms of success. When looking at business and change, it is constant. We have to be dealing with it. So why not make it easier on ourselves as leaders of industry here? There's a research study that demonstrates this very well. They've brought in 3 groups of people. The first were leaders who were just sent to train on listening skills. So they learned things like open body language, paraphrasing, eye contact. By the way, this research is the work that I used to be a faculty member to be teaching this, and it turned my world upside down. The second group of leaders were naturally trained listeners, meaning they just were nominated by their peers as great listeners. And the third group were asked in a blind study, tell us which ones are the better listeners. Now, hands down, it was actually the naturally trained leaders who were chosen as the better listeners. And this really confused the researchers. So the researchers went back and watched the video of the leaders who had just been trained, where they spent thousands of dollars on this. And what were they doing? The things that you would think: open body language, eye contact, paraphrase. Interestingly, the leaders who were just naturally great listeners did the complete opposite. They had closed body language, they didn't have eye contact, and they didn't paraphrase. And in fact, they were doodling. This confused the researchers even more. So they went back and they asked, what were you thinking about when you were listening to this person? Those who were just trained were so focused on the actions. I have to have open body language. I have to have eye contact. They weren't listening. Whereas the leaders who were naturally great listeners had one common thought: I want to understand you. One thought. As a global leadership development consultant, I have worked with thousands of leaders, and they are trying their hardest, and unwittingly, they are making 3 major mistakes. The first problem is around decision making. They keep all the decisions to themselves rather than dispersing it to their people. This then hampers the leadership opportunities of those below them. It also leads to the second major problem. They end up doing the work of their people, which creates more work on their shoulders. And it keeps them in a place where they are comfortable, confident, and competent. But the problem is, they're not doing the work that they should be doing. They keep doing the work which they were rewarded for previously. The third major problem: these leaders bring their team members in and have them represent the functions that they come in with their talents, but they don't do a shared accountability for success. The problem with that is you end up with death by report out, and you don't take advantage of the creative innovation of the collective, leading to only a fraction of the opportunity to gain from the group being together. Underlying all of this is a mindset of a fixed, order taker, check the box, reducing the opportunity for all this creativity. And the cost to the organization is revenues, operational inefficiency, and innovation and creativity are dampened. Now, there is hope, I promise you, and it's actually easier than you think it is. And it all starts with 3 main thoughts. First one, and this is one that if you simply just think about and ask your team and align on the responses, can produce profound outcomes. What is the work that only we can do together that will make us proud? Now, this particular thought actually differentiates average from superior leaders. Second solution and second thought. Answering the question, what are the core paradoxes or tensions that only we can address that will help us advance our purpose? By focusing on this, and in my 3rd book, Team Purpose to Performance, we actually dive deeper into expanding the definition of paradox to include emotions. This way, we get to actually integrate how people are feeling, which actually uses a different part of our brain, the limbic system, before we get to our prefrontal cortex, which is basically our executive center. 3rd solution. When we start asking the question, what are the core results that we want to accomplish together that will help us advance to our purpose? This question alone is a game changer. Because notice, I am not asking what are the actions that we should take. I am talking about the results, the outcomes that collectively we are agreeing to. And by focusing on that, we allow the people who are closest to the work to decide what's the best action and way to get to that outcome. Now, the good news of all of this is just imagine a time where you are using these questions and your team comes to align and you do the same legacy-making opportunity and process that Dannon, IBM, TJX, and many others have done. So pick a team you're working with, identify a time that you can ask these questions, and then align on the responses. And remember, suffering is optional. Great thinking makes progress, and progress is powerful.